Welcome to the Infinite Podcast. My name is Melissa Ruiz Vasquez, and I'm here with my husband, Carlos Andres Ruiz. How are you today?
I am feeling good today. You know, yes, like that. In the Bible, it says that in the beginning, God looked at things and he was like, "Oh, that is good." I think I'm feeling Bible good today.
Ooh,
Bible
that's a
good.
big
I don't.
statement.
Yep. I don't need great. This good is really good. Um, why am I feeling good? I don't know. I love all the things that we do.
Mm.
Um, it's just sometimes I feel like the process of waiting to get to it is like, oh, there's so many things. But when I'm in it, I'm like, oh, it's so much fun. The people interactions, the coaching. Sometimes it's just the planning or the creative process. Um, the one thing that's tough is the editing. Uh, the editing of the podcast sometimes can be hard. But before we get into our topic, we're gonna do our icebreaker.
I get to read it, right?
You get to read
Okay.
this one.
What was your favorite story or book growing up? It's like
Growing
Bible.
up, I'm still growing up
Every day,
every day.
every second,
Uh,
every minute.
I guess I have to go to my childhood. Um, my dad bought me all these like this book with all these stories, and it had like Little Red Robin Hood. That's
Riding Hood.
Riding Hood, Robin Hood. I put two of them together. Snow White, Beauty and the Beast. But none of them are the one that
Okay.
that one. I really love Hercules.
Mm.
Hercules and Pegasus and his little trainer. Um, yes, so my favorite story is Hercules, and then as I developed my belief system, I realized that Hercules is just another story of Jesus,
Mm.
and if you like Hercules, you love Jesus. I don't care what anybody says, because it is like
Expound.
it's a it's a it's a person who has a divine family, but he's put on earth with humans, and then he has to fight the tension of uh, the fight with his physical strength, but get to a point where he needs to fight death for love. And I feel like I don't remember the name of the girl that he falls in love with, but I think she is a picture of humanity, and he goes into the pool of death, and then he basically dies, but he catches her, and I think that's what Jesus does. Like he dies, but in that death process he catches us, and then they both get to enter the heaven or wherever Zeus and um, all of the gods are. So Hercules is so dope.
That's so good. I hadn't thought about that contrast. That's so interesting.
Yeah, we
You
should
always
watch
do
it
this
again.
with all these movies that I've watched before, and I'm like, huh, I never
Yeah.
realized that.
Somehow we always, I don't know if it's intentional or not, but all of these movies tell the story of a savior or of a hero, and whether you believe in God or you believe in Jesus or not, what we can't deny is that in our wiring, we long for a heroic story. And if you don't have an answer, I would like to propose to you that it might be because we are part of a heroic story. And it's a paradox, but I think we have been saved by this hero, but we also, now that he's no longer here, we can take on that role and also be uh, heroes for others and ourselves, knowing that our source comes from God. So it's not that we're the ones getting the praise, but we get the responsibility and the opportunity to do what God has done for us, and um, save others from a nasty lifestyle. I don't think that, even when I think of my spirituality, like yes, heaven and hell, you can talk about it all you want, but there's some people that are like living their best life here and it feels like heaven, and some people that are living hell here, and I wonder if there's a way that we can save people from living while they're here in something that reflects more of death or um, unhealthiness or nastiness. But anyways, Hercules is the one that I have to go with.
Mm. I have so much to say about that.
Go ahead.
You said the words like save, which is very, like, I think when I hear
It's
that,
so Christian.
it's so Christian.
Yeah.
So for some people, I think that turns them off. They're like, I don't need saving. Like, what are you talking about? How do you bring awareness to people who you can see are maybe making their way down a wrong path, but feel like they're on the best path, or that they're living a good life without God?
Yeah. Which is an interesting question, because at the same time, I don't know if there's anybody that's living without God. And so even people, like, God doesn't need you to believe in him for him to allow your things to work well.
I know that is right.
Which is
correct.
Which is so crazy to consider. And I think that's where maybe religion and the church has come in, like, oh, that happened to them because they weren't with God. It's like, okay, but what about all the people that are doing really well and don't acknowledge God? It's like, well, actually that increases the favor of God rather than like it diminishes. Like, and so I think maybe starting more of like, does this person have God versus this person not have God? Maybe it becomes more of a question of like, is this person aware of how much God loves them? And I think when you constantly live in a reality where you're not convinced that God is madly in love with you, then that's when you look for a lot of approval in the outer world, and it's such a fine line. It's very dangerous to look at other people and propose that they are not godly or they're godly. We don't know enough about their lives, and so it would be very dangerous to go in that route. I know from the people that I hang out with often, when perhaps they're making decisions that are against a healthy relationship with anything or anyone, and then I can propose. But yeah, I guess starting from the point of view that everybody has God, and it's more of like, I think one time I was talking about similar topic with a friend, and it's almost like it's a laptop, and there's a bunch of files, and there's this one file that is God, and everything that you need is in this file, and it's up to you to open the file or never touch the file. And so I think we all have that file inside of us. Some of us, and it's happened to me, like I have so many tabs open, and it's because I'm searching for all the things that I think I need that one file has. And so that's good. And then the moment that you open that file, it's almost like, it's not that you shouldn't open all the other ones, it's that now from everything that you find inside of this one, everything else is seen with new eyes and new minds. And I was reading Romans, in the process of reading Romans, and there's this back and forth tension between our old mind and our new minds, and our flesh and our spirit. And this is like, it's not attainable, in my opinion, to become a believer of anything and then fully detach from negative thoughts, negative actions, negative habits. And so it's just this constant dance. And so I think it's more of being aware of that I think that file gives you a more accurate representation of your health, and then it helps you not judge yourself and know, like, okay, I need a little bit more help here. So yeah, I think that's and I also don't know that we are necessarily, when I say that I want to help people, I don't necessarily mean that I want to help people meet God. Yeah. I don't see that as my responsibility. if I convince somebody of God, somebody else can convince somebody of, or that same person of not believing in God. And so I think the fruits of my life, it's a better representation of God being part of my life, and that I think has a bigger impact in whether they consider God or not. But the best I can do is like love them whether they believe or not believe, whether they're healthy or unhealthy. But yeah, it's a very complex question that, depending on the person that we're using as like the case study, you would attack it differently. And that's part of the relational intelligence, that relational intelligence only exists in the sense of, because all humans are different, you have to be adaptable and pliable to what's the right approach to a relationship with this human. So
yeah, that just makes me think, we've had this conversation before. I think your mom said this, was like, at the end of the day, if that person is meant to have a relationship with God and you're the one trying to help, God will use you to get to that person in whatever way they need it, and maybe he's using you through your relational intelligence. So I just had a thought that with relational intelligence, it can be misconstrued, especially when you throw the word God in there, as like you're manipulating someone into believing in something. And I think that's a big issue or a discussion when it comes to the church, like, but then it just made me think, well, it all comes back to intention. I think everything comes back to intention, and I just see these things everywhere that make me like, are we trying to manipulate people into, I think it's just, if your perspective is they're trying to manipulate me, that's the perspective. But having been on both sides of that, I understand that the intention, especially for you, I can only speak for you in this case right now, and myself, the intention is always good. The intention is always, because I've seen the difference that it's made in my life, that is why I'm trying to, I don't want to use the word convince, but like almost share with you my experience, and me knowing how much it can change a life. For example, my own. I want that for you, as my friend, as my family member, as the stranger I just met. Like, you know what I mean? You were gonna say something.
Yeah, I was gonna say that I've experienced moments in which people want other people to believe in God more because it helps them feel that they are correct, rather than knowing that they are correct, and therefore you should believe in this. And so if somebody decides to not believe in God and they see that, they're afraid that, what if they're not correct? And then it becomes, like you're saying, the intention becomes different. It becomes more like, let me convert them to the God that I believe, just to feel better about me not being wrong. And if I can get them there, wow, on to the next one. And hopefully the next one and the next one, and there's never one that comes along and changes my point of view. And that's why I think what you said is so beautiful, that the thing you should be proposing is how this changed you. And if that's where you stay, you're always going to be speaking truth, because it's your life and you have been the one who experienced it, without the need, because this happened to me, you need to believe it. It's more like, this is what helped me. And we see it everywhere, like this product helped me do this, therefore try it. And from like shoes to like toothpaste to hair products. And so it's just like, and that's why one of the first things we do when we're going to buy a product is we go to the reviews, you know? And so like, has this worked for others everyday life? And I think maybe we've become hesitant to, maybe we're no longer writing reviews, and what God needs is not for us to create businesses that convince people of God. What God just needs is us to just send a review.
Yeah.
And so when people are going to go and consider God or no God, and they'll look at the review, which for me is the expression of our lives, and it's like, that's a review that God is doing something there. Every time they do something, like they connect it to God. And so the best thing we could do is just be a good review, and a review is not a sales pitch, you know. And I think that can really help. But I want to, because that's a really good question and topic, and I know we haven't gotten to your side of the question.
Yeah.
Do you have an answer to that?
I do.
All right, give me a quick one because I have a question.
Okay. When I thought favorite book, I thought, like growing up, I was not a big fan of reading, but the most wholesome story I really have is that my mom sometimes would read this book called The Tickle Monster to me and my brother. And of course, part of the book is they tickle you. So it was really cute. It was like a bedtime story kind of thing. Or my dad would read it. Or I think it was my mom actually, because was it in English? Anyways, doesn't matter. But story, I guess. And I wanted to tie it to this conversation because recently I kind of started, sometimes I'll rewatch episodes of Avatar: The Last Airbender, and Aang's a monk. So like a lot of he's so wise and you know all that. A lot of the things that I see in him are like very, I guess, Christian. Like a lot of it is it aligns. Yeah. And so when I watch it now with like a new lens, I'm like, bruh. Yeah. No wonder. Like it's
crazy
so
because like it's almost like we don't even have to prove it to people. Like we just overlap and parallel the divine story, and in the way that even when you think about addictions, is like, I don't know if this is right or wrong to say, but I think God is addicted to us, and He's madly in love with us, and it's just like an inch away that we could get addicted to so many things. But the feeling of worship in something, like the reason we can get addicted is because our ability to worship is engraved inside of us. You know. And so it's not do we worship, is more what do we worship, because our design is to worship. And it's just sometimes we get it right or wrong, but the most beautiful way to look at it, and this helps me a lot when I see people that maybe are doing some unhealthy stuff, is like, well, let's start from the point of view that what they're doing is they're worshiping. And if we just finish the sentence there, then what comes after can be good or bad, but at least we can identify that, oh, they are an image of God, because like we were all designed to worship, and God is in communion worshiping God, Father, Spirit. And honestly, I feel like, and this could sound crazy, but I think God worships us. And what better way to worship us than to give us full dominion over this earth? He could come in and stop us from doing harm, and He still says, I trust in humanity to figure it out. And so it's a relationship centered on worship. And worship sounds like such a Christian word, but what worship is love. Like you're just expressing love, not just love, but like a strong, like passionate love for something. And so even the people at their worst, they're worshiping something, which is just start from the fact that they are an expression of God. But before we finish, I want to ask you basically the same question that you asked me, because you are closer in the timeline of when you didn't feel like you needed God, and now you feel like you have a relationship with God, and you feel like this is a fundamental piece to your existence. And so maybe you can give us a better answer as to what is in that in-between process that is like oh, how did I miss it?
Mm-hmm.
But yes.
We got time. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I think unfortunately, oftentimes, from my own experience and from experiences I've seen, heard about, whatever, um, it tends to take something that breaks you.
Oof.
And that's what sucks. Like, that's the crappy part about it. And I think that's part of the reason we want to help people before they get to that. Like, I don't want anyone to have to go through something like that in order to realize that's what they need. So I think it's so many times where it's maybe it's not even a breaking point. It's just an overwhelming feeling of like, I really cannot do this anymore. Because it's like the day to day, you can feel that you're just surviving. You're not. People say it all the time. Are you thriving, surviving, or what is the saying?
I don't know, but yes.
Surviving, not thriving, something like that. You know what I'm saying? And like, why can't we thrive? But we're constantly in survival mode. And yes, I think, as you know, life is not easy. We all know that. Life is not fair. We know that. But now with such a different perspective, it's almost like my life isn't that different, objectively speaking, in terms of what I have and who I am. It's just my perspective on life is so different. And even if you don't, I was thinking about this recently, even if you don't necessarily believe in God, believe in something greater than yourself, everyone talks about how helpful and how important gratitude is. I think having God in your life is just creates so much more gratitude that there's no way you can just be surviving.
When you said that we long to be part of something greater than ourselves, I think that's another piece of evidence that we were designed and wired to have a relationship with God. And the first thing that came to mind is like, don't we all want to be sports fans? And the only reason we do that is because this team is greater than our story. And so sports is so interwoven into what it looks like for somebody to be spiritual. Sports is one of the most spiritual acts, from a player to a coach to a fan. And it lands at that, which is what you said. We long to be part of a greater story. And then, I mean, we could go into a different episode with this, but it would be, is it because we don't feel worthy inside of our story? And then this is when, like, maybe to answer your original question is, when I help somebody understand that God is inside of them, they become so worthy themselves, and they become empowered that if God is inside of me, everywhere I step now has an added divinity in that space because I'm there. And therefore, yes, I can be a fan of a team, but this team cannot necessarily be greater than this God that's inside of me. And in fact, what makes this team great is that God is inside of all of them. And so I want to be part of the collective story that we all have God inside of us. And therefore, if I am a fan of a sport and the sport's played by humans, I'm a fan of a divine expression rather than I am a fan of the Celtics, right? And so I think that it is a dangerous, I would say it's a dangerous approach to be a fan of a team if you don't have self-worth. Or even when we see a professional athlete or a celebrity and we ask for a picture, or we want a signature, and it's like, I don't think we process the fact that action on the backhand is saying I am not worthy. And I don't think we intentionally do it, but it is what we're doing. Like, this person is more worthy than I will ever be, and I should go crazy for this person. And when you look at concerts, like, it's one person in the middle, packed stadiums, and it's not that that's not good. It's just like there is probably an expression of creativity,
Yeah.
but the moment where you feel that this is almost like your source,
Yeah.
when your source is inside of you, I think can become unhealthy. But yeah, it's a very complex conversation that starts from the question that we had today, which was, what was your favorite story? When you were answering yours, I remember that I really liked green eggs and ham.
Oh yeah.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. I think it's because I love words, and poetry, and I don't know if it's because of rhyming or music or something. I don't know, but it is fun.
Poetry.
That's one of the books. I don't even remember like the storyline, but
Is there one?
I don't know.
Probably.
Persistence.
There is some
They
kind of
keep
plot.
asking like, do you want green eggs and ham?
Mm-hmm.
It's like the Christians. Do you want Jesus in your life? Would you want him in a house? Would you like him in a car? Would you like him with a mouse? Would you like them? No, I don't want Jesus. No.
We should just do a story time where you read that book.
Yeah, maybe I'll read that book. But anyways, I do want Jesus in my life. Thank you so much for spending time with me and having conversations. Is there anything that you want to leave us with in this conversation?
Another thought that I had was, specific to my story, is not only being part of a sports team makes you feel like you're part of something greater than you, but I think my breaking point was soon after I graduated, like my grad school. So like now you're no longer part of an institution, you're not part of greater education, and like you're supposed to be off into doing your own thing or whatever. And you think, for me at least at that point, I thought, man, once I graduate, once this thesis is through, I'm gonna be great. I'm not gonna have this stress in my life anymore. Like, I'm gonna rid myself of all this like high stress that I was having. But instead of, like, I always think of it as like a graph, like going up. It was like I hit, graduating was that top, turning my thesis was that top, and I just like straight like nosedive.
Yeah.
So like I now like thinking about it, it's like now maybe not only was not being part of not being an athlete anymore was another point that kind of sent me. Then not being part of greater education, like now I'm no longer part of an institution. I'm not part of something that's supposed to be bigger than me.
That's interesting.
So
That visual is very interesting because you go, and when you drop, I think a lot of the times when like players score, they look up to God, and so like you go and you drop, and when you have this crazy fall, the evidence of what you had made your God is what you fell from, and so your thesis, getting there to that situation, that was my God, like the diploma or getting that, or like being a athlete at a certain level, that was my God, and it will continue to happen until you put a God that never drops you, never lets you drop. And I think that's when you probably start to feel most alive, when like it's almost like you're always here, held, not because you got there, like you're actually held, you know, which
like
is
something's not letting you fall.
it's not
That's real. And so I guess with that I say I urge everyone to be aware of what are they trying to be a part of that's they feel is greater than themselves, so that if at some point you're no longer part of that, it doesn't get you to that point, because it sucks.
And
in a short way.
My challenger is just like, keep going. The higher you go, the harder is gonna the fall. Because imagine living in a reality where like you make so much money, and you thought money was it, and you fall from
that money gets
billions of dollars, or you have the billions of dollars, but you lost family, loved ones, trust. It's tough. But anyways, there is something about the fall does get you there. The fall for me was like falling did get me to redefine my relationship with God, and
Mm-hmm.
that was very painful.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much for watching. Mel, your story is amazing, and I get the privilege to see it firsthand. I love you, and we'll see you guys next episode.